Hey there, Heather Boyd Wire here. Today I'm making flat wire rings. You're going to need your tools, some beads, some flat wire, some 20 or 22 gauge wire, and a ring mandrel. So I am using the 3mm flat wire from Artistic Wire. I'm getting my looping pliers and I'm just going to twist the end into a little loop. Just press it down. So we have a loop, and then you can pinch it shut with your flat pliers. And then I'm going to hold it on the ring mandrel and just turn the wire around at my desired size. So we're just going to hold it firmly and push it against the mandrel. This is the stepped ring mandrel. And then I'm going to clip it right beside the other loop and then turn it around, and this will leave enough space for an 8mm bead. So we're just going to turn the loop and pinch it so it's closed. So this is our basic shape for the ring, and then I'm getting an 8mm pearl bead, and I'm using some 20 or 22 gauge wire, depending on what you have. 20 works well for this. So we're going to do a little zigzag formation with the wire, one wire going down and one wire going up. And then we're going to attach it to the ring band. So we'll slide one wire in one side, and then we're going to take the other wire. I've cut my wires a little too long. As usual, you can trim them if it's easier to work with, and then grab the end with the pliers and pull it down. So we want to make sure it's positioned nicely, it's snug in there, and then we're going to take one end and wind it around the band just beside that loop. So we could do one side, just one little loop, and then we're going to wind it around the other side to make sure it's positioned nicely. Just check there's no gaps, do any adjustments that you need, and then from there you could wind it around another couple of times, depending on how you like the look. So I'm just feeding it through with my tweezer nose pliers. It's just easier to grasp the wire, and then that looks good. So once you're happy with the wrap, you'll take your flush cutters and give it a little clip. So now we can flip it around and do the other side to match. So again, we can grab the end with our flat nose pliers, feed it through a couple of times, make sure you're pulling it snugly, and then get our flush cutters, and we're going to clip it. These are the Xuron flush cutters. And now we're going to pinch the end. Just pinch it in there. And then we're going to flip it around and pinch the other end. Just pinch it down. So now we'll put it on the ring mandrel and squeeze it in and adjust it so it's a nice shape. And there's your first very simple ring with the flat wire. So now we're going to do another one the same way. I'm using 22 gauge wire this time. I have the same band, and this time I'm going to open up these loops. So we're just going to open them on both sides, and we'll attach the bead, and that way the wire will just slide right into those loops. So they won't be wound outside, they're just going to be tucked underneath where the wire is bent over. So now we're going to feed it back through the bead again. Make sure you have a bead with a big enough hole. These are the miracle beads, the 8mm miracle beads. They've got a decent size hole in them because we're going to feed the wire back a couple of times. If your wire doesn't fit, you could use 24 gauge wire. This is the 22 gauge artistic copper wire. So just give it a good little tug, get both pliers to pull it even tighter, and then from there we're just going to wind it one time around there to tuck that end underneath the flat wire. It's going to be a little more discreet. So we're going to do the same on both sides. We just want to tuck it underneath the flat wire. Just push it right in there. You can use your tweezer nose pliers to push it underneath. So once you're happy with that, give it a little clip with the flush cutters. Clip it on both sides. And then pinch it down. So this design's a little more symmetrical because you have the wire going around both sides of the bead. Just has a slightly different look to it. Push those ends in so they're not pokey. Always put it back on the ring mandrel just to adjust it a little bit more. And there is your other flat wire ring. Now this one's a little bit different. We're going to trim the end as we did before and just turn it into a loop using the smallest tip of the 6-step looping pliers from Beadalon. And then we're going to get the ring mandrel, and this time we're going to wind it a little bit more. This is going to be more of a staggered design. It's good to work directly off the roll of wires so you don't waste any. And then we're going to clip it a little beyond that loop. So we're going to clip it at about 3/8 to 1/2 inch and then turn the end. You can pinch it and adjust it so they're lined up. You want them at the same angle. And then you can actually open them up a little bit so it's easier to fit the wire in there. So just clip it right in there. It's probably going to be easier. So it's sitting right in there. And we're going to wind it around to hold it in place. Flip it around. We'll just wind it once to start. And then we're going to bring it through again. Give it a good little tug with those pliers. And we could go around a couple of times. Clip the end. And then you can actually slide it underneath. If you don't want the wire to be wound on the outside of the loop, you can just squeeze it underneath there. Both ways are fine, whatever you like the look. So now it's hidden in there. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So give it a little tug, stick it underneath if you prefer to have the ends hidden. Give it a good little tug. And then get our flush cutters and cut it as closely in there as you can. Give it a pinch with the flat pliers or the tweezer nose pliers. Make any little adjustments that you need. You don't want any little pokey ends. That should be good. And then I put it on the ring mandrel and I just use both pliers to line up those loops. So it's more on a kind of diagonal. Just adjust them. Looks a little cleaner. And there is your last flat wire ring. So thanks so much for watching the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots more wire art and jewelry making videos. And if you'd like to share photos of your wire art and jewelry, be sure to join the Wire Makers Club on Facebook. And if you'd like to check out my work on Etsy, my husband and I specialize in custom wedding cake toppers and funky jewelry. I also have a mailing list, so if you'd like to sign up below, I'll send you my Wire Art Essentials ebook. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you the next time.